I'm your dude 4786. I have autism here, and kind of recapping of what I've talked about months ago when I talked about how I took back my apologies for apologizing to my girlfriend Julia. We were dating and all. We're two people with autism, and we did well. This other than that, we dated, and then it didn't last, and then she promised she would get back with me, and then that promise never got fulfilled. So therefore, I was, you know, kind of left. I felt like I was being led on and all that crap, and my time was wasted and all that. And like, I had went to go attempt to apologize to her after we had a falling out, and she unfriended me after I walked away from her place. I went back, and she said, "Well, that's crazy. Why would he walk back?" And she got the wrong impression because, I'm a big man, and that scared her when I came back. She's like, "Why did he come back?" Well, I thought maybe we could still work things out and be friends and all, but like she didn't want that. And clearly, it didn't take me till much later to realize I didn't want that. I wanted something more than just friendship. And do I regret being mad at her? No. Do I realize the wrong in it that people may see in it? Yes, I do realize that. I do see how people see this. I do understand why people may say I'm wrong for, going back and trying to apologize or are going there to argue with her. I can see why people would say, "Hey, you're just rushing it. Don't rush this. All you never wanted to really be her friend. You just want to. You wanted something more, and you're being selfish. Blah blah blah." Maybe so, but it's what I wanted, and it's how I felt, and that's still. It's not. I'm not gonna really dwell on it anymore, just because I have more important things to worry about in life, and I can't keep wasting my time worrying about shit like this. And you can't make people. You can't change people's mind. You can't make people do what you want to do. You can't control them. And I understand that. But still, part of it still pisses me off thinking about it. But, at the same time, I could care less. I don't care because I'm glad I got it off my shoulder. I'm pissed off at the fact that I didn't get what I wanted, and that was to be in a relationship with Julia. But I'm glad I got to be transparent about how I felt when I felt like she was just holding me up on the promise that she said she would make, and like she was going behind my back, and I was trying to make things work out. I was trying to build up, like, because I went from relationship back to friend zone, and now I was trying to build up from the friend zone and work my way back into her heart or whatever, and try to do things and be a good man, blah blah blah, and all that crap. And apparently, it wasn't enough that I would walk my ass 2.5 miles to get to her house, or go out and buy her stuff, or pay for stuff at that movie theater and all that, and all of this other stuff that I could just go on about, that I paid for her stuff and all that, and paid for her to go out. And my mom's like, "Well, Chris, you chose to do that. She didn't make you do that." True. But then again, you gotta realize that, why did I do this? Why do I do all this? Why would I spend over $100 at a fair to to actually have a good time and to pay for the games that she couldn't pay for on her own? clearly she says that she lives in her own place. She always could argue that, but then again, you got to understand she's getting assistant living. She's getting money from her dad to help her pay for the shit that she has and to be able to live where she lives. And then she gets disability, a check every month. So what do I get? I am dependent. I will not lie. I live with my mother, and not that I have to, but for me to survive and have the roof over my head and all this stuff, I'm living with my mother. But I don't get disability. I was denied disability because they said I was too high functioning to have disability. I'm glad I didn't get it, because now I can save as much money as I want as possible. And because if you have to have, there's only so much money you can have in your bank account when you're on disability. If you get more than $2,000, or if you get $2,000, you have to spend that money. You can't go above 2,000, or else they cut you off disability. I don't never had disability, and so I don't want it. I don't get assistant living because I'm already living with my mother, and that's assistant living enough as it is. That's my assistant living, is living with my mom. So why the hell would I need assistant living from a company when I'm getting the assistance I need right here, right now? And I don't need disability because clearly, even though I have autism and ADD and I'm mentally challenged in that manner, clearly I can work. I'm more than physically capable of doing full time and all, which I have done when I've done a few times before. Even though I am marked as a part-time worker, I have went full time before. I have done more time than I was supposed to, and I got a big check, and I got a pretty decent check for the payment I got. Not to mention I got a 30 cents raise, even though it doesn't sound like a lot. It's the first raise and the only raise I've ever gotten. And I'm like, okay, fine. I wasn't really expecting anything, but oh well. But you see, I got what I got, and that's that. I get around just fine. Even though I might be a little delayed in certain things, because I believe that my autism, it's a symptom of my autism that I am mentally retarded. Some people may argue, no, being mentally retarded is a separate thing from having autism. No, I believe that I am mentally retarded because it is a symptom of my autism. Because having autism means you have difficulty understanding abstract concepts, in addition to having difficulty with social and language skills and all. And because of my difficulty understanding abstract concepts, when it comes to things like algebra or things that require a little more abstract thinking in order to learn it, it really puts a hold on my learning development. Therefore, kind of slows it down, because I have to have people explain things to me. Because one of the things about being autistic is that you're very detail orientated. Therefore, you need people explaining stuff to you, and that's my difficult. That's one of the I had the that's what I have. It's autism. That's what it is in a nutshell. It's just social communication skills that are just subpar, and difficulty understanding abstract concepts. And algebra I find to be a very abstract concept. I can remember pictures and images very, very well. I can remember stuff that happened over 30 years ago when I was like a kid or a baby. It's like my mom's like, how can you remember all this other stuff, but yet you can't? But some people may ask, how can you remember all this other stuff, but you can't remember how to do this and that? or you can't remember when my mom will say, you can't remember when I tell you to do something, you know? It's not that I can't remember something. A lot of times when I have difficulty going through with something, it's because I have difficulty understanding the concept of it, or as where it may be to me an abstract concept, as others may take it for granted. For to What may be abstract concept to me may be just a simple concept to other people who are not autistic. So when I had to take Algebra 1, it was a very abstract concept before me. And to be quite honest with you, it's kind of weird because I learned the concept of algebra before I actually learned how and before I actually learned the entire concept of multiplication. I didn't know how to carry numbers in multiplication. I didn't know how to carry numbers. I didn't know how to work with a two-digit number over a two-digit number. Now I do. I understand the whole concept of multiplication and division. But I learned algebra before I learned division and the entire concept of multiplication, but I didn't know how to do, because of my limitation on those two mathematical concepts, which are um, multiplication and division. I could only do algebra in pluses and minuses. But how do like some people may say you can understand something as abstract as algebra, and you learned that before you learned division and multiplication. See, my brain is wired very differently. I learn very differently than most people. I am very different. My brain is different. My interests are different. I listen to a lot of music that most people my age probably don't. I listen to a lot of 80s and old, like even late rock music, like Bad Company, Leonard Skinner. Listen to Ozzy Osbourne. Listen to a lot of other musics and genres and stuff. I don't have a favorite genre. It depends on the kind of music and who's and kind of artist. Like out of the whole album, I might only like two songs out of 17 or 10 songs. There might only be two of them I like, and then they jump to the next genre. I really don't have a favorite. Because I can go from rock to heavy metal to hip hop and all that stuff. I really don't have a favorite genre. I really don't. But I've been listening to a lot of Eurodance and electric 90s music lately. But sometimes I want to jump. It really depends how I feel, too, and what I feel like listening to. See, my brain is wired very differently. Because, my interest in video games, what I talk and how I present myself. I'm just a very quirky person. I'm a very weird person. Even when I don't even really try to express my full self at work, even though other people might goof around, if I goof around, it's going to really, really stand out. And I'm just a very weird person in nature. And that's just who I am. And there's things I get very sensitive, emotional about. So when I went back to what used to be my girlfriend Julia's house, I wasn't trying to scare her or hurt her. I wanted to try to apologize and I want to apologize, but then I realized that she didn't want what I wanted, and that maybe I realized later I should not have apologized, but I made a mistake, and that's that. And I should be happy that I even got that off my chest. I feel I should be happy. I feel happy, even though others may not agree with me. I agree with me. And then what matters to me is what matters to me. I could care what other people think. I don't fucking care if it makes me selfish to have to be upset about something, I don't care. I'm the kind of person, I don't like I don't mind I can tolerate being told what to do, but at the same time I don't like it. Like I'm going to be honest with you. I don't always like being told what to do. I don't. I only tolerate it because I have to in order to survive in this world. I have to listen to my boss, my managers and all. And there's been plenty of times that I can clearly say that I wish that I were my own boss, that I could make the rules, that I could do what I want to do. Like, who's clearly who wouldn't? How hard is that for you to understand? Like, seriously, who wouldn't want to be their own boss and be in control? Come on, seriously. Why is that so hard? Why does that seem to be so hard for people to understand? That's what the impression I'm getting is that people have a hard time understanding why would anybody want control of any situation. Think about it. You have power, control. Think about that. You can shape things. You can do whatever you want. And as selfish and dominant as it may sound, you know, I get that why people think that was selfish and wrong, but at the same time, it's not hard to understand why would anybody want it anyway, because, it's power. Come on. What's so hard to understand about that? But, I'm willing to make the compromise because I do have a heart, and I mean, not physically, biologically, but I do, but I care. I love my family, and sometimes I'm just a very impulsive person, and even though I know it's wrong, I just give in to something when I have the impulse for it. Like if I want to go drinking, go out drinking or eating, and I know I'm not supposed to eat or drink. If I'm on a diet, I know it's wrong, but I'll do it anyway because I'm very impulsive. I'm a very impulsive person. And, I'm very stubborn. I could give less of a shit, about anything. I could. And somebody could easily mistake me for being antisocial because of that, because of my mannerism, because of that, But if I were antisocial, I don't think I'd be aware of my antisocial behaviors. I don't know, because I'm not a therapist. I don't fucking do diagnosis. You want to ask a therapist? Ask my mother. She is one. And I've asked her to say, no, you've showed remorse, and I cried at my grandmother's funeral. I cried when she died. I cried when my dogs die. So clearly I'm not antisocial because I have emotions, and I do cry when people in my family I love die. Friends I've even talked about my friend Giovanna, who passed away. I was sad and broken about that. And then sadness turned to anger, and anger turned to revenge because I wanted to get at the person who did this to her. And then my impulses just go into overdrive, and then I'm just, in another state of mind when that happens. I wouldn't be surprised if I was diagnosed as being bipolar. But then again, I don't have my ups and downs in manic phases. But I do have my days where I feel more energetic than others, and that's usually because I'll get a good amount of sleep, which most of the time I don't, because I'm an insomnia. In addition to having ADD and all that, I have insomnia too, so that's that. And it's my work schedule too, because I work from 5 to like midnight and stuff, so or 5 p.m. to midnight. So yeah, I help close shop at a fast food restaurant called Wendy's. So yeah, that's understandable too. That could also contribute to my insomnia. But I had insomnia long before I even got my job at Wendy's, so I can't even use that as an excuse. So there you go. That's just me in a nutshell, you all. And I could just go on, but I'd rather continue off in another video. So thanks for watching and peace out.